Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel, Harvey here. Time for my quick preview for the biggest game of our season now after the calamity at Selhurst Park last week against Brighton. It is of course FA Cup action this weekend, quarter-final FA Cup action, and tomorrow we do face Watford at Vicarage Road. Now obviously this is a fixture, as you all know, most of you being Palace fans I'm sure watching this video, and Watford fans if there are any Watford fans on the video now. As you all know, this has been quite a fiery fixture in recent years. Of course, we've had big games against each other. FA Cup semi-final in 2016, we beat them, and even before that, at Wembley in the playoff final back in 2013, that Palace came out on top on both occasions. And because of that, and because of Zahara as well having particularly good games against them in those fixtures, winning the penalty in the playoff final, and also winning penalties against the league and being tightly, very closely fought league games as well. This has made this quite a fiery fixture, and I think looking like the same thing's going to happen in this game. Before we even get into the game, the amount of away fans going to Vicarage Road has been reduced. Or I say reduced, they haven't increased the allocation as most clubs do for the away team, the away fans, which they are allowed to do because you're allowed to have, I think it's a 20% increase. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think in the FA Cup you're allowed a 20% increase for away fans. Now, that would mean most of these stand behind the goal. I don't know if you know Vicarage Road very well, but the away fans are behind one of the goals, and we normally get about half of that stand. Now, we would get that full stand, I think, if we had the maximum allocation we are allowed, but Watford have decided not to increase it. They've also decided to stop the HF bringing in their drum and things like that. So I think Watford fans, obviously comment below your thoughts, because I think that there's nothing against you doing it. You're not breaking rules or anything like that. I think it's just a way to get a mental advantage ahead of us, or ahead of the fixture, to try and quiet down the Palace fans, things like that. And fair play, you're more than entitled to do it. Obviously, from an away fan's point of view, this is a FA Cup quarter-final, and fans aren't going to be able to go who probably would have gone because Watford have reduced the allocation, and you don't know how long it may be until we're in this position again. So in that sense, it's a bit annoying and a bit frustrating, and but in that sense, it will get us geared up a bit more for the game. So let's get into it. Obviously, comment your thoughts down below on that. Watford or Palace fans, whoever's watching this, just your thoughts in general. Do you think that's fine, acceptable? If not, let me know. I don't really have a feeling on it at the moment. I suppose if I didn't have a ticket, I'd probably have a stronger feeling, but I will be going tomorrow. In terms of the team and how we set up now, Watford are a good team at home. I believe that they've won and drawn quite a lot of games. They have been on a bit. In fact, the only games they have lost, I believe it's 5 home games they've lost, and they've all been against, apart from Bournemouth, they've all been against top 6 opposition. So obviously a very strong home team against teams in and around them in the table, which is not good news off the face of things for us. But we've been a very good away side. Most of our points have come away from home. We've only won 3 games at home all season. So if we were going to play against Watford, I would much rather it be away from home. Obviously, our away support is fantastic, and I think that we are just set up so much better as an away side. As you all know, I don't need to explain it really, but the way we counter-attack with wingers, with pace, we are just set up as an away team, and that's really annoying for home fans who pay the money for the season tickets, but that's how it is, unfortunately. Now, because of that, I think it's going to be a case of cancelling each other out. That's how I see it happening. That's how I expect things to go. I think it's going to be quite cagey to start off with. I can expect it to be the atmosphere to really build up, and first 5-10 minutes to be very vocal from both sides. I expect it then, if there's no early goals, for it to die down a bit, and I think it's all going to be a mentality thing. It's who's going to be able to keep that tempo up the highest, who's going to want it more on the day. I think these sort of fixtures, I know it's a bit cliched, but tactics kind of go out the window, because I think that it's all about heart, desire. Who wants to get to Wembley? This is your one game from Wembley. Go out there and show me on the pitch. So that's how I expect both teams to approach it, really. They're going to have tactics in the way they approach the game, of course, but to an extent, as long as you've got that heart, desire, that effort, and you show it more than the opposition, that 9 times out of 10 will get you through, despite whether or not your tactics are better than the opposition's or not. So I think it could be quite cagey. I expect it in the first 5-10 minutes. We could get a shot early goal, and I think that changes the complexion of everything. If we get an away goal, I can see us really being nervy for the rest of the 90 minutes. If they get it, I think that I do think there'll be a goal. I do think Palace will score. I say that because how good we are away from home, and against Watford, we both scored against each other in recent games. Both in the league have been 2-1 to Watford. We've shown intent. I think Max Meyer was very good in the way back in early September. I think it was when we played them away from home. And he did very well when he came off the bench at the home leg. So I can see Max Meyer playing in this, and I think it's going to take him, maybe Dale Lefeu from the other side, Pereira, some class players that Watford have. It's going to take that little bit of creativity, I think, to unlock the defence, get that goal, and whoever gets the first goal, I think will then be able to sit back and just see things out and counter-attack. Because I think that Watford are set up beautifully, as we saw against Cardiff, for example, away from home. They're set up really well for the counter-attack, as are we. We've got a very good defensive unit, as have Watford. We are very similar in ways we set up and approach the game, so it's very hard to call. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I do see both sides scoring. Whether that means it's going to go to extra time or not remains to be seen. In terms of Palace lineup, let me get into that. Now, I am a bit concerned that Hennessy's going to start, and I know that's, I don't have anything necessarily against Hennessy, but I just think that he's not as good as Guaita, and he shouldn't start ahead of him in the big games. That's my opinion. Nothing necessarily against him, but I do feel that the defence and the fans and the atmosphere around the ground and the club, it's strange. It sinks when you find out he's in the starting lineup, because I think of mistakes he's made in the past, and he's not 100% reliable. Now, Guaita has made a couple of mistakes recently, but he kind of backed it up earlier in the season when he made match-winning saves against the likes of Leicester, Cardiff. He's got us 4 points there that I think if Hennessy was in goal, goals would have gone in. So for me, Guaita has to start, even if Hennessy's fit. We've got to go full strength because it is it is international break after this, so no excuses, full strength team. So in my opinion, that's Wan-Bissaka at right back, Van Aanholt left back. Even though he's been shocking so far this 2019 part of the season. There's no one really challenging him. I wouldn't put Schlupp in there, so you've got to stick with Van Aanholt. Hopefully we sort that out in the summer, give him some competition. So Van Aanholt and Wan-Bissaka right and left wing backs, or left backs and right back if you like. And then Tompkins and Dan in the middle. Some people say Kelly. I think that Kelly's a great option to have when you've got a short-term injury and he can come in for 1 or 2 games. Whether he's your option as a long-term centre-back option, like from now till the rest of the season, I don't think so. I think Dan's much better suited to be in the team for a longer duration. Now, everyone had a shocking game against Brighton, so I can't pin anything necessarily down on him, but I think he's the closest we have to Saka in terms of playing the ball out from the back. He just needs to be a bit quicker. The tempo needs to be a lot higher if we're going to break down Watford, because that was the problem against Brighton. We weren't quick enough in the transition, and it made it very easy for Brighton to just sit there and take whatever we chucked at them, which was not a lot, to be honest. Then you got the midfield. I go midfield 3 of, and this is my opinion, because of how well Meyer did against Watford in the 2 league games, Milivojevic, Chiarte, Meyer, and if it's Meyer or Schlupp, I don't care, but that has to be the midfield 3. MacArthur, unfortunately, cannot start in this. There's no excuse for him not starting. There's no excuse if he starts, is what I meant to say there. He shouldn't be in the starting lineup. He was very poor against Brighton, and he's normally very reliable. I get that, and I've got nothing against him, but when Chiarte's fit, he is our starting DM next to Milivojevic. And Meyer's just, in my opinion, the more creative midfielder, better than Schlupp in that position. So I'd rather have him in ahead of Schlupp. And then the front 3 speaks for itself: Sahar, Batshuayi, Townsend. Now, Schlupp could play for Townsend. I've heard rumours of that. It'll be interesting to see if he does that, Rory, because that did work out quite well against... who did we have last time out? Well, we worked well against Burnley in the league. So he may revert to that, but I feel like you've got to just go full strength. Don't take any risks with the lineup. And it's going to be close. It's going to be nervy. I don't know. Obviously, Delafeu is on great form, so I worry about him. I worry about the pace in behind, because we have got quite slow centre-backs. Wan-Bissaka and Van Aanholt have got to be on it defensively as cover for those two. Oh, we'll see what happens. It's going to be nervy. It's a quarter-final, but they've got to remember, especially after the Brighton game, they Palace players have got to make it up to us as the fans. They've got to at least put in a 110% performance. They've got to try and get us to Wembley. And, you know, if they put everything out on that pitch at Vicarage Road, we'll be okay with that. But anything less, especially after last week against Brighton, is absolutely unforgivable. So, fingers crossed that they do what we want of them and just put everything on the pitch. And if we do that, I'm confident we can get the job done. It isn't going to be easy, of course, but away from home gives me a bit more confidence that we can get the job done. Score predictions, it's been close games all season against Watford. I'm going to stick with a close scoreline. I'm going 2-1 Palace. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet, but I can see us scoring as well with the attacking threat we have. Fingers crossed, guys. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this preview. Of course, comment your thoughts on the game down below. If you're going, I'd love to know anything about the game or Palace in general. Comment below your thoughts. Especially on like the ticket allocation thing, I'd like to know about that. If I see any of you there tomorrow, please come and say hi. I'll be happy to talk to you guys. I don't think I will be vlogging the game tomorrow, and I apologise for those who would be looking for a vlog. The only reason is because of continuity. I've not vlogged the FA Cup and all season, and it'd be weird if I did it now. If we do get to Wembley, I probably will do that because obviously Wembley and the occasion and people will want to see that when we get to Wembley. So I will do like halftime reviews and things like that, and I'll probably do a live stream after the game on my way back to the station, looking at looking at how the game's gone and my thoughts on the game and the result. And like I did against Leicester, check out that video in the channel if you haven't already. So I will be doing that, but no vlog tomorrow. I hope you appreciate and understand my reasons. So